discuss what is utility all about, what are its features, types and concepts. In the previous lecture, we have also seen the relationship between total utility and marginal utility. Today, we will start with the law, that is law of diminishing marginal utility. But before starting with the law of diminishing marginal utility, let us have a small recap on the previous lecture that we have discussed about the relationship between TU and NU. TU and NU is nothing but total utility and marginal utility. Let us see the relationship between the total utility and marginal utility. Now friends, TU stands for total utility and NU stands for marginal utility. In the concepts of utility analysis, we have seen there are two concepts. The very first is total utility and marginal utility. Then what is total utility? Total utility is nothing but summation of all the marginal utility. What I have said, total utility is nothing but summation of marginal utility. We can say total utility is nothing but MU1 plus MU2 plus MU3 till MUN. That means it is total utility of n number of unit equals to marginal utility 1, marginal utility 2 plus marginal utility 3 till the marginal utility n. That means the n number of unit that has been asked. What is marginal utility? Marginal utility n is nothing but the additional utility derived by n one more increase in the stock of commodity. That means when an additional utility is derived. How it is derived? When one more unit has been added. So how much that is derived? That is nothing but marginal utility. So symbolically we can represent friends. MUN is nothing but TUN minus TUN minus 1. MUN, n is number of units again, total utility of n number minus total utility n minus 1. This we have already discussed in the previous lecture, how do we solve this. Okay, now let's see the relationship. For example, first I will draw a schedule. Okay, I have drawn one. I have plot one schedule on the board, which you all can see that there are 3 columns in the schedule. In the first column, there is the unit, that is number of units that the normal consumer has consumed, and the second column is about marginal utility, that stands for NU, and the third column is TU, that is total utility. When we see the table, we can see that as unit of commodity increases from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, marginal utility diminishes, that is 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 0 and minus 2. What does it mean? It means that as unit of commodity increases, the marginal utility decreases. There is a point where marginal utility becomes 0. That means consumer is fully satisfied. After that point, if he consumes more, it will become negative. That means when it enters the negative quadrant, it is said to be a consumer is dissatisfied. When we compare MU and TU, for the very first unit of commodity, initially MU and TU are same. So from the first point, we can say that MU at initial stage, MU and TU is same. That means at initial stage, we can say that marginal utility and total utility are equal. from the table itself we can see that. From the second unit onwards, from second unit, marginal utility decreases but total utility increases. But once again, marginal utility decreases, total utility increases but at diminishing rate. Diminishing rate. Now we can also state that, I will write it down here. Now at unit 5 and at unit 6 we can see that marginal utility and at unit 5 and 6 we can see that total utility and total utility are same at unit 5 also and as well as at unit 6 also. So when we will say that consumer is fully satisfied, we will say that consumer is fully satisfied at unit 6. That means when at unit 6, when mu becomes 0, TU is maximum. TU is maximum, and that point is said to be, point of satiety. That means consumer is fully satisfied. That point is said to be at unit 6. That point is said to be point of satiety. That means consumer is fully satisfied. Then at unit 7 we can see that mu became negative and TU started declining. That means consumer is dissatisfied. Because he was already satisfied at unit 6. So that from this above schedule we can say that mu can be positive, 0 as well as negative, but TU is always positive. You can see mu is positive, 0 and negative, but TU is always positive. I'll take an example. For example, a person who is very much hungry, from the first chapati he got mu 10. From the second chapati his stomach was full, so his mu started declining. There was a point where he was fully satisfied, above that he cannot eat, so mu became 0. That means that point is said to be a point of satiety. That means consumer is fully satisfied, and after that if we ask him to consume more, it will start on declining. That means it will become negative. We will enter a negative quadrant. So when we compare mu and TU, as I have told you, TU is nothing but addition of mu. So when mu decreases, initially mu and TU is same. When from second unit mu start on decreases, TU will increase, but at what rate? At diminishing rate. That means TU is increasing but lesser and lesser rate. You can see why? Because mu is declining, 8, 6, 4, 2, 0, minus 2. There would be a point where mu becomes 0 and TU is maximum because consumer is fully satisfied, and that point is said to be a point of satiety. What it is said? Point of satiety. And after that, if consumer is forced to have more chapatis or whatever he is consuming, then it will become negative, he will become dissatisfied. If we draw the same schedule on graph, your curve would On y-axis, TU and MU would be plotted on x-axis units of commodity consumed. Your graph would be somewhat this way. Downward slope is MU and upward slope is TU. You can see that when at unit 6 it is touching x-axis, that means we can explain that on x-axis we are plotting units of commodity consumed, on y-axis we are plotting TU as well as MU. We can see that when we plot units and MU, it is a downward slope from left to right. At unit 6 it is touching x-axis because MU is 0 and afterwards it is entering to the negative quadrant. We can also see that MU is declining, TU is increasing, remaining constant, and when MU is entering to the negative quadrant, TU start declining. But when MU is touching x-axis, TU is maximum. That point is said to be a point of satiety. Point of satiety means consumer is fully satisfied. After the point of satiety, consumer is dissatisfied, therefore TU declines and MU is entering to the negative quadrant. Also, you have understood in the revision, also you have understood the topic very well. If you have doubt, you can ask me in the live session. I'll give you some time to read, understand once again. Then we will start with the law of DMU, that is law of diminishing marginal utility. In previous lecture, I have bifurcated units and MU and units and TU. Then I have shown the relationship MU and TU. This was a revision session, so I have directly explained the relationship between MU and TU and its graph and schedule. Initially, TU and MU is same. Initially, TU and MU is same. That means you can see on schedule MU is also 10, TU is also 10. From second unit, MU started declining, that is 8, 6, 4. TU increases but at diminishing rate, but at lesser and lesser rate. Then you can see that at unit 6, MU is 0, TU is maximum. That point is said to be a point of satiety. That means consumer is fully satisfied. After the 6th unit, if we try to give more units to the consumer will become negative because he is dissatisfied, and TU will decline. After the relationship between TU and MU, let us discuss about the today's topic, that is very important topic and very first law of our 12th class, that is law of diminishing marginal utility. We have 3-4 laws in our whole syllabus, but this is your very first law, that is law of diminishing marginal utility. So let's see what is the law of one part of the relationship between TU and MU. I will tell you that afterwards. Let's see the law of diminishing marginal utility, because if I tell you the shortcut method, then you will totally focus on shortcut thing. So first let's understand the law of diminishing marginal utility. The law of diminishing marginal utility was first stated by Professor Gossin. Therefore, it is said to be a Gossin's first law also. Once again, this law was first stated by Professor Gossin, and it is also said to be a Gossin's first law. But afterwards, it was explained by Professor Alfred Marshall. Explained by Professor Alfred Marshall. Who explained this? Professor Alfred Marshall in the books of Principle of Economics. In year 1890. Important, note down what I am saying, it's very important. The law of diminishing marginal utility. Why it is said to be a diminishing marginal utility? That also I will explain you. But now understand this. This law was first stated by Professor Gossin. Who stated this law? Professor Gossin. Therefore, it is said to be a Gossin's first law. Means law of the law of DMU is also said to be the Gossin's first law, with the name of Gossin's first law. And then it was explained by Professor Alfred Marshall in the books of Principle of Economics in year 1890. Now, what he has stated? Let's see. According to Professor Alfred Marshall, now let me tell you kids, every law has certain assumption, also has certain exception. As I have explained you, the microeconomics are based on certain assumption. So every law is based on assumption. So according to the Professor Alfred Marshall, the very first thing that he has stated is other thing remains constant. That means he has assumed, he has done some assumption. So the law started with other things remain constant. What are the other things that we will discuss later on? But let's see the law first. Other things remains constant. The additional benefit which a person derives from giving stock of thing, giving stock of what things diminishes with every increase in stock of thing he already in stock that he already has. What does this mean? Once again, kids, focus. The law was first given by Professor Gossin, and it is also said to be a Gossin's first law. Then it was explained by Professor Alfred Marshall. Professor Alfred Marshall in the books of Principles of Economics in year 1890. According to Professor Alfred Marshall, other things remain constant. What are the other things remain constant? We will discuss that. But now every law starts with other things remaining constant. The additional benefit which a person derives from given stock of a thing diminishes with every increase in the stock that he already has. I'll give you a simple example. Suppose you have a very pretty t-shirt which you like the most, but the same pretty t-shirt which you have bought from the shop with so much of excitement that you because you like that t-shirt very much, but the same t-shirt you have got with you have got a gift from your friends as well as your parents. That means that same t-shirt has that the same t-shirt you are having 3 copies or 3 same t-shirt, same color, same size, same texture, same print, same everything. So the first t-shirt which you had it was full of excitement because you liked that. But as the stock increases, your utility decreases. The craziness for that t-shirt decreases because you already has that t-shirt with you. So same logic the Professor Alfred Marshall has stated in the law that other things remain constant. The additional benefit which a person derives, what it is saying, the additional benefit that person derives from given increase in the stock of a thing diminishes with every increase in the stock that he already has. Means जो additional benefit जो person को मिलने वाला है वो कम होएगा. क्यों कम होएगा? क्योंकि वो जो उसके पास स्टॉक है वो ऑलरेडी उसके पास पहले से रखा है, तो उसमें से उसका इंटरेस्ट, उसकी यूटिलिटी क्या हो जाएगी? कम हो जाएगी. इसलिए ये लॉ का नाम है डिमिनिशिंग मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी. What is the name of the law? Diminishing marginal utility. Why it is said to be a diminishing marginal utility? Because the additional benefit that a person is going to be getting, that person is going to derive or going to derive from the stock, वो stock उसके पास पहले से ही पड़ा हुआ है. और one more example. Suppose you are very much hungry. When you ask food to your mom, she will give you fatafat, she will make chops, she will start preparing chapati for you. The first chapati she gave you, you will get maximum satisfaction from the first chapati, the maximum utility. From second chapati, you will get utility but at diminishing rate. Why? Because from the first chapati, your stomach is little bit of full. When she gave you the third chapati and the fourth chapati, your utility is declining because already you have consumed 2-3 chapati before. Same logic. So what it is saying, when the additional chapati when you were consuming, so its marginal utility was diminishing because because the stock you already had consumed. Simple. So once again friends, this law is said to be Gauss's first law, and it was explained by Professor Alfred Marshall in the books of Principle of Economics in the year 1890. According to him, means according to Professor Alfred Marshall, other thing remaining constant, the additional benefit which a person derives from given stock of a thing, whatever the additional benefit that person is going to get derived from the given stock of a thing diminishes with every increase in the stock. क्या होएगा? वो कम होते जाएगा जब एक एक स्टॉक बढ़ते जाएगा. क्यों स्टॉक बढ़ रहा है? क्योंकि उसके पास वो स्टॉक ऑलरेडी है, इसलिए उसकी यूटिलिटी क्या हो जा रही है? कम हो जा रही है. ओके, so this was the law. I'll give you some time to read page number 11. Understand the law. Then we will see what does this additional thing, other things remaining constant means. I will explain you what does the other thing remaining constant means. It means some assumptions. I will explain you what are those assumptions, but before that, I'll give you time to read the law. And let me tell you friends, the format of writing the law is, first you have to write the introduction. Introduction you will write the law of DMU was first stated by Professor Gossin, therefore it is said to be a Gossin's first law. Then it was further explained by Alfred Marshall in the books of Principle of Economics 1890. Then you will write down the statement of the law heading. Then you will write according to Professor Alfred Marshall and the law other thing remaining constant, the additional benefit which a person derives from given stock of a thing diminishes with every increase in the stock of a thing he already has. This is the format of writing the law. Then you will explain in simple words that we can say that as stock increases, the MU decreases. I'll give you some time to read, understand. Then we will discuss assumptions of the law and also the schedule and the graph of the law. The law of DMU means diminishing marginal utility. The law was first stated by Professor Gossin and it is also said to be a Gossin's first law. Then explained by Professor Alfred Marshall in the books of Principle of Economics in year 1890. He stated that other thing remaining constant, the additional benefit which a person derives from given stock of a thing diminishes with every increase in the stock that he already has. So this is the law. That means in simple words we can say that marginal utility goes on diminishing with increase in the successive unit of commodity consumed. With the help of this law, we see the economic behavior of the rational consumer. We see how the consumer behaves when he has the stock with him. It is a common experience that more we have the commodity, less we desire to have it. जितना ज़्यादा वो कमोडिटी हमारे पास रहेगा, जितनी इच्छा उसके लिए वो कमोडिटी के लिए कम रहती है हमारे लिए. So this is the fact that is expressed by the law of diminishing marginal utility. It was first proposed by Gossin, Professor Gossin. So it is said to be a Gossin's first law. However, it was further explained in detail by Professor Alfred Marshall in the books of Principle of Economics in year 1890. According to the Professor Alfred Marshall, other thing being constant, the additional benefit which a person derives from increase in the stock of a thing diminishes with every increase in the stock that he already has. Law should be stated as the economist has already stated. You cannot change the words of the law. But in simple words, you can explain in your own words. Let us discuss the assumption of the law. The very first assumption is rationality. The very first assumption is rationality. That means consumer should be a rational consumer. In economical term, rational means a normal consumer who has proper state of mind to express his utility. That means he should not be a drunkard. His state of mind should be a normal. He should be in normal state of mind so that he can express his utility. So what is the rationality means? He should be a rational consumer. Rational consumer means he should be in proper state of mind to take the proper decision for the utility. The second one is cardinal measurement. Second one is cardinal measurement. What does cardinal measurement? After the law of DMU, let us discuss about the assumption of the law. So, as we have seen that in law, the Professor Alfred Marshall itself has told that in the starting of the law itself, other things remaining constant. So let us see what are the all those things that are remaining constant. So the very first other thing remaining constant is nationality, rationality. Rationality means a consumer should be normal state of mind. He should be in normal state of mind to state that from the first unit he has got marginal utility. So from second unit so and so marginal utility. So he should be a normal state of mind. In economical term, rationality means the consumer should be a normal person. That means he should be in normal state of mind. He should not be an abnormal person or he should not be a drunkard. Why not drunkard? Drunkards are not abnormal, but in economical term he is proper, his state of mind is not a rational. Therefore, the very first assumption that Professor Alfred Marshall has assumed is rationality. Rationality means a normal person who can give a proper utility after the consumption. The second one is cardinal measurement. What does cardinal measurement means? Whatever the commodity that the consumer is consuming, he should state in numbers or figures. That means he should express his utility, marginal utility in numbers and figures. It should not be in paragraph, stanzas, phrases, words. It should not be positive, negative or satisfactory, average. It should be numbers, figures. So the very first one was rationality. Rationality means normal consumer, in normal state of mind. Then second one is cardinal measurement. Cardinal measurement means whatever the consumer is consuming, he should express in numbers and figures. The third one is homogeneity. Homogeneity means the whatever consumer is consuming should be of proper shape, size, structure, color, everything should be same, identical. Means if he is consuming milk in glass of milk, so all the unit should be a glass of milk only. If it's consuming chapati, it should be a standard size, texture, color, quality, quantity. So that means whatever units he is consuming, the number of units he is consuming, it should be homogeneous. It should be same, identical in its color, shape, size, structure. The fourth one is continuity. The continuity means whatever he is consuming should be one after the other. It should be consumed one after the other without any time gap. For example, if he is consuming chapatis, it doesn't mean the first 2 units of chapati he will consume in morning, the second 2 in afternoon, third 2, the next 2 in noon, in evening, the leftover 2 in the night. It should be in quick succession, that means one after the other. The first chapati is over, he should consume second, when second is over, third, without any time gap. So these are the 4 assumptions, the first 4 assumptions of law of DMU, that is diminishing marginal utility. The assumptions given by Alfred Marshall. The first is rationality, second is cardinal measurement, third is homogeneity, fourth is continuity. I'll give you some time to read, understand. If you have doubt, ask me. Then we'll continue with the leftover 4 assumptions. Some seconds to read, understand. Rationality. A consumer is assumed to be a rational person and his behavior is normal, and therefore he tries to maximize his satisfaction. So the consumer should be a rational consumer. His proper state of mind he should be, and he should be a normal consumer. He should not be an abnormal consumer. He should not be a drunkard. So that he can maximize his utility from his, or else he can maximize his satisfaction. Second one is cardinal measurement. Utility can be measured in numbers so that it is possible to know and compare utility derived from each unit of commodity. It helps in understanding the law. The third one is homogeneity. The law assumes that unit of commodity consumed by the consumer are uniform. They are identical or same in case of size, color, shape, taste, quality, etc. Then continuity. The unit of a commodity are consumed in quick succession, one after the another. Mu will not diminish if there is a time interval. So these are the 4 assumptions of law of diminishing marginal utility. Once again friends, the law of diminishing marginal utility was first stated by Gaussen. Therefore it is said to be a Gaussen's first law. Then explained by Professor Alfred Marshall in his books of Principle of Economics in year 1890. According to him, other things remaining constant. What are those other things remaining constant? That means assumptions. We have discussed 4 assumptions: rationality, cardinal measurement, homogeneity, continuity. Then the next 5th assumption is reasonability. whatever commodity he is consuming, it should be a standard size. If it is a cup of milk, it should be cup of milk only for all the units. It should not be that first unit is a jar of milk, second unit is a glass of milk, third unit is a cup of milk, fourth unit is a tablespoon of milk, fifth unit is a drop of milk. It should not be like this. It should be of common, same size, structure. It should be same standard, should be maintained for all the units. Then the sixth one is constancy. What does constancy means? Constancy means, kids, it means whatever he is consuming, his likes, his habits, his taste should be same. It should not vary with the number of units. That means his taste, habits, likes, dislikes should be same. It should not change. And the marginal utility in terms of money should also be same. What does this mean? This means that if first unit is of 2 rupees, the second unit, the third unit and all the unit should be of 2 rupees itself. Once again, reasonability. Reasonability means it should be of same size. Standard size should be maintained. If it is a cup of milk, it should be a cup of milk only. If it is a glass of milk, it should be a glass of milk only for all the units. It should not vary. Then the sixth one is constancy. Constancy means that his taste, habit, fashion, likes, dislikes, everything should be same. It should not change. As well as marginal utility in terms of money should also be remain same. Then the seventh one is divisibility. Divisibility means whatever commodity he is consuming, it should be a divisible one so that he can consume easily without any struggle. So, the commodity whatever he is consuming should be easily divisible. Then the last one is single bond. What does single bond means? There are various commodity which gives multi-purpose utility. Like for example milk. From milk the consumer can consume in form of Bournvita, plain milk, tea, coffee, paneer, curd, anything sweet. So the law assumes that if he is consuming milk in form of coffee, then it should be coffee only. So it is said that it should be used for the single purpose only. It should not be like first unit plain milk, second unit made Bournvita, third unit shake, fourth unit tea, fifth unit coffee. It should not be like this, like that. It should be for the single purpose only. If milk is used, it should be used for only, if it is used for only tea, it should be only tea. If it is used for making curd, it should be only curd for all the units. So these are the assumptions of the law. The first assumption is rationality, second is cardinal measurement, third is homogeneity, fourth is continuity, fifth is reasonability, sixth is constancy, seventh is divisibility, eighth is single bond. Again some time to read the next four assumptions that we have discussed now. Then we will discuss the graph and the schedule of the law. Reasonability. The unit of commodity consumed should be a standard and normal size. They should neither be too big nor too small. For example, a cup of tea, a glass of water, etc. Constancy. Income, taste, habit, liking, etc. of a consumer and the price of commodity remains constant throughout the period of consumption. It also assumes that mu of each unit of money remains constant. Divisibility. The law assumes that the commodity consumed by the consumer is divisible so that it can occur in small quantity for a quick consumption. Single want. Utility is multipurpose for various goods which satisfy variety of wants. Here it is assumed that commodities used should be for single want to experience the law. So this were the assumptions of the law of BMU. Then we will discuss about the graph and the schedule of the law. Let us understand the graph and schedule of the law. From the schedule, we can say that marginal utility is maximum in the first unit, that is 10. As unit increases, marginal utility start declining, decreases from second unit, that is 86420 minus 2. There is a point where marginal utility becomes 0 at unit 6. That point is said to be point of satiety. This point is said to be point of satiety. That means consumer is fully satisfied. After that point, marginal utility becomes negative. That means consumer is dissatisfied. If we plot this on graph, on x-axis we will write units of commodity consumed. On y-axis we will plot marginal utility. 7 units are consumed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Utility 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, minus 2. If we plot the schedule in the graph, on x-axis we will explain units, on y-axis we will explain marginal utility. When unit 1 marginal utility was maximum, that is 10. At unit 2 it is 8. Unit 3 it is 6. Unit 4, 4. Unit 5, 2. Unit 6, 0. At unit 7, minus 2. When we join all these lines, we can see it's a downward slope. The marginal utility slope is downward from left to right. Why it is downward? Because the additional benefit which a person derives from a given stock of a thing diminishes with every increase in the stock. Means whatever marginal utility he was getting was declining. Why it was declining? Because stock was increasing and that stock he was already having it. So on x-axis we will plot unit, y-axis we will plot mu. We can see a downward slope from left to right. A downward slope from left to right. At unit 6 it is touching x-axis because it is 0 and that point is said to be a point of satiety. That means consumer is fully satisfied. After that it will decline. It will become negative. That means consumer is dissatisfied. Before this topic we have discussed relationship between mu and tu. The law, if you remove from the relationship between mu and tu, if you remove tu, it will be the graph and schedule for your law of diminishing marginal utility. Let's have a small and quick revision. The law was given by Professor Gosset, then explained by Alfred Marshall in the books of Principle of Economics in year 1890. He stated that other thing remaining constant. Other thing remaining constant means he has done some assumptions. The additional benefit which a person derives from increase in the stock of a thing diminishes with every increase in the stock that he already has. That means whatever the additional benefit that person is going to derive from increase in the stock is going to diminish. Why? Because that stock he already has. What are the other things remaining constant? Rationality, cardinal measurement, homogeneity, continuity, reasonability, constancy, divisibility and single point. These are the certain assumptions that Alfred Marshall has assumed. If we plot this on graph and schedule, in this schedule we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units. Marginal utility at first unit was highest, then it started declining. At one point it became 0 and then negative. If we see in the graph, it would be a downward slope. When it becomes 0 and 6 unit, it is touching x-axis, then it is going to the negative quadrant. So this was the law that we have learned today. In the next class, we will have discussed about the exception for this law. Understand, read, write. If you have doubt, ask.